Ladies and gentlemen, welcome into the top 10 greatest MLB stadiums of all time. You know, a while ago I did the worst MLB stadiums, but I forgot to do the greatest. And yes, this is a very, very hard list to come up with. There's kind of a mixture of newer stadiums with older stadiums. It is just my opinion, but I tried to mix it up and include both the new and the old. The older ones are going to be more towards the top, but I do also want to include the new ones. It's very hard because a lot of the newer stadiums haven't developed that legendary status. So can we really rank them that high? It is a debate, but let's get right into it, starting at number 10, and it is a newer stadium. It is COORS Field. Now, I had COORS Field ranked as my number 2 overall stadium in 2023, and I just think it is the perfect modern stadium after the upper deck renovation, where they've got basically floating bars in the right field upper deck. You've got the rock pile area in center field. That's unique. You've got the little nature area with a river with a little waterfall in center field. That's unique as well. And really just overall the vibe of COORS Field, the good attendance they always seem to have, the offense going crazy. I love this stadium. To me, it is the perfect modern stadium for an MLB team. It's a blend of, it's not like one of these ultra new stadiums that only has a capacity of 30K, but it's also not a crazy wall of seats after the renovation. So it's just such a good combination for like everything coming together and making the perfect modern stadium, you know, opening in the mid-90s, so you get kind of the old retro look, but also the newer renovations introduce a modern aspect to the ballpark. I've got it at number 10. It's more of a shout out. You could go with older stadiums. I understand that, but I wanted to go with COORS Field at number 10. At number 9, it's another newer stadium. It is Oracle Park. So this is one, the uniqueness with the water. I always say it, during a night game, if you look beyond the left field seats, there's a bunch of nothingness and then there's lights. I just think that's such a great vibe. It's like the lights coming from, you know, past the water. I don't know, man. It's just with McCovey Cove, it makes it super unique with it right next to the water. Also, they sold out a bunch of games. They've got a really good fan base. I don't love what they did with the renovation, removing Triples Alley. I understand it was a, big pitcher's park, but that was something that was good, that was unique about it. They took that away. It is what it is. They want more offense. I get it. They also moved the bullpens out to center field, which is understandable. Basically, every MLB stadium has done that. But because it is located right on the water, as more seasons pass, I think people will really start looking at Oracle as one of the best stadiums of all time in the MLB. At number 8, it is Griffith Stadium. So this is the first older stadium, super unique, super innovative for its time period. When I look at older MLB stadiums, there's two things I'm looking at. I'm looking for an extensive and a really good exterior in terms of the architecture, which Griffith Stadium did not have, but I'm also looking for the uniqueness of the outfield. And that is exactly what this stadium has, built around a tree in center field. If you can look at that, amazing. And then you have the massive right field wall that's very shallow. Also, you have the 2-deck approach, which something for the time frame was definitely rare, so I have to give it points in terms of that. All of these older stadiums in today's money, they would cost like $100 million, which we would never consider, a $100 million stadium. There's minor league stadiums that are built for more than that, or like around that, like AAA parks. So it is pretty remarkable, but I just love the outfield configuration with the massive wall. That is something that's so unique, and I had to give it a shout out on the list. At number 7, it is SHIBE Park. So this one, for its time period, amazing architecture, amazing exterior. And then I also did find interesting how the upper deck kind of shifts from foul territory to the left field, where it gets a little bit lower And I like the 2-deck approach in left field. Reminds me of Comiskey Park, to where you have the bottom little section and then a top section, but they're both very small. It just looks so nice. And they also do have a very nice roof, very well presentable for the time period. SHIBE Park, it just comes off as extremely clean. And you have to remember, this is a ballpark that in today's money would cost like $130 million. It costs nothing, and it's this nice and it's this unique. Now there's a lot of, issues with building unique stadiums. They have to be a certain distance. You can't make a wall too high. They didn't deal with those back then, so they were able to create a lot more unique designs. And what an exterior that is. You gotta love the brick exteriors, man. Wow. But overall, due to the wall, due to the way this is set up, it just looks really, really neat. It looks tidy. So I went with SHIBE Park at number 7. Coming in at number 6, it is Comiskey Park. So really a head scratcher with this one with the White Sox. I have no clue. When they built the next stadium and they called it Comiskey Park before it was renamed US Cellular, but they made it nothing like Comiskey Park. It doesn't make any sense. Comiskey Park sat 45,000 people. Like, isn't it crazy how they were able to fit that many people into 2, lower tiered decks? I just think it looks so good, and we need a modern version. It doesn't have to be the exact same, but something that follows a similar pattern with Comiskey Park. The seating was so close to the field that you could put suites and the press box above the upper deck, and they would still have a fine view of the game because the seating was so close, and it's just the way the seats were done. And it's just mind-boggling. I'm sure everyone's seen that photo of the new Comiskey Park, which, now is Guaranteed Rate Park. So Guaranteed Rate Park getting constructed right next to Comiskey. And, it looks like a monstrosity, but Comiskey Park has a higher capacity. It's crazy. It's just the way it was designed. This thing, when it was a sellout and you get the aerial shot of it, with just how small it looks, it is beautiful. They did need a new park because the exterior of Comiskey was completely outdated. I get that. But it's just crazy that the White Sox ended up doing it. Either way, Comiskey Park, the view, the upper deck seating, the fact that it sat 45,000 people and it was that close to the action, all of it combined gets it on the list at number 6. At number 5, it's got to be the legendary. It's the Polo Grounds, the bathtub, of course. Just crazy, crazy design. We would never see something like this today, but that's what made it amazing. That's what made it unique, with both of the fences jetting ridiculously far out. I really wish they would have found a way to preserve Polo Grounds. Basically, it's impossible. I mean, the thing was demolished in 1963, so they would have had to have tried to preserve it for 60 or 70 years. But it would be cool to play an all-star game and a home run derby at the Polo Grounds just for fun. They end up, obviously demolishing it. But either way, the Polo Grounds is on this list just because of the dimensions, the way it looks. It is crazy. And it's always going to have a special place in stadium lore just because of that aspect. Going to it, I'm sure it wasn't the best experience. They're not going to have, the best seating arrangements for it, but you still have to put it on this list. I mean, how can you not? It's the Polo Grounds, the iconic name, the center field catch. There's a ton of baseball history with it, so it comes in at number 5. At number 4, it's going to be Wrigley Field, home of the Chicago Cubs. So this one, you could argue it should be top 3, maybe top 2. I've got it at number 4 right now. They've done a really, really good job of modernizing it. They added the 2 big scoreboards. They completely renovated the outfield seating. You've still got the historic old look because it is, it's not like it's been built up. It's not like there's any more upper deck seating. It's the exact same in that aspect of it. And you also do have the most unique factor, the rooftops, right? I do wonder if they would consider a lower bowl renovation. I'm not sure what that would look like, but the lower bowl seating is very outdated. Fenway Park has kind of the same issue, but with Wrigley, I think it's even more pronounced. Either way, Wrigley Field, it just fits in. It's almost like a painting, the way it fits in as an MLB stadium, you know, and then they do have the pyramid with the old retro scoreboard in center field as well. So Wrigley Field comes in at number 4. At number 3, it is the old Yankee Stadium. This is the Yankee Stadium before the 1973 renovation. I mean, it just looks amazing. This and Cleveland Municipal Stadium were really the first MLB stadiums to have that much of an extensive upper deck. And with Yankee Stadium, it was just a little bit more unique the way it was designed. Also, you had outfield seating as well. You know, and they had a really, really deep left center field, I believe, at the old Yankee Stadium. It was pretty crazy, but that's just the retro look to it. I just love the way the upper deck kind of comes around over both the left field seats and the right field seats. It's another nice little aspect to it. So for me, old Yankee Stadium before the 1973 renovation is going to come in at number 3. At number 2 on the greatest ballparks of all time, it has to be Ebbets Field, the Brooklyn Dodgers. It fit like a glove. It's got an amazing exterior. You have a very unique multi-deck outfield approach to where it actually levels off in right center field and gives way to a big wall. I just love Ebbets Field. It's very unique. Again, when you look at the aerial shots of it, it just looks like it fits so perfectly with the way the exterior is aligned in the overall stadium. It really is the model for older ballparks and the way that they should look. You know, again, I'm grading it on a curb because this is an old ballpark. It's not going to cost as much money. It's not going to have the same features. It is what it is. It's, you know, it's the early to mid 1900s before the Dodgers ended up moving to Los Angeles. So Ebbets Field for me comes in at number 2. And at number 1, the greatest ballpark, I would say pound for pound of all time, it's got to be Fenway Park. You know, I guess you could argue a few other ones, but if we're talking about all time, the Green Monster, the aspect of combining old with new to where Fenway's received multiple renovations, they've modernized it, but you still have the old feel with the extremely small upper deck, with the bigger lower bowl seating. You know, it just has both things, and also you've got the unique aspect of the way the right center field seating is. You've got a big wall in center, which we never really see at any MLB parks. I think you have to give the nod to Fenway Park at number 1 in terms of the best stadiums of all time. It's just, it has the best of both worlds. It has the unique modernization, and it's got the old feel to it. So that's why Fenway, and then, you know, the Green Monster, you really can't beat that. They had the monster seats on top. It makes it better. Fenway Park, for me, is the greatest stadium of all time at this point. Can a stadium pass that? I mean, it's hard when you're talking about the greatest stadiums of all time because they have to be around forever. That's part of the reason why it's so hard to rank them. But that is just my top 10 greatest stadiums of all time. Guys, that is going to do it for this video. Make sure you follow me on Twitter. Link to that's always in the description. I'm, of course, the Depressed Ginger. Thank you for watching.